This is WFYI News Now. It's September 22nd, and I'm Abriana Herron. On today's show, a vigil for conservative activist Charlie Kirk in Zionsville. Governor Mike Braun says teachers could lose their license for negative statements about Kirk's death. The Indianapolis City County Council will decide the fate of Google's proposed data center tonight. And state funding to help turn the Miami Correctional Facility into a federal detention center was approved last week.
The majority of that, a lot of it will be some housing because we utilize some of our staff across the state to come up to Miami until we get people hired as we start bringing in detainees.
Those stories coming up, but first. Vote centers will not be coming to Hamilton County for upcoming elections. The change allows voters to cast a ballot at any of the designated centers instead of specific precinct sites. The three-person election board needed a unanimous vote to approve the move. It was split 2-1. In Indiana, 67 of 92 counties have vote centers. Indiana's next elections are in 2026. A crowd gathered in Zionsville Sunday night to honor the life of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated in Utah earlier this month. Valerie Swack is president of the Boone County Republican Women's Club, which organized the vigil in Mulberry Fields.
Just because we're just one little group, we can do something big, and everybody is mourning, and it's something tangible that you can do to bring people together to celebrate a phenomenal man.
Swack said she received dozens of texts and calls from people offering to volunteer for the event. One of those volunteers was Nicole Molinaro. Molinaro said she wanted to help because she believes conversations are being shut down in the country, and Charlie Kirk wanted more conversation.
I think no matter what you feel in America, you should be able to have a freedom of speech.
The Zionsville Vigil came on the same day tens of thousands showed up for a memorial service held in Glendale, Arizona. President Donald Trump, at the service, called Kirk a martyr for American freedom. Governor Mike Braun says teachers could lose their license for making negative statements about conservative activist Charlie Kirk's death. Zach Castle reports that the actions could have First Amendment implications.
Braun says the Education Secretary has the authority to revoke or suspend K-12 teachers' licenses for misconduct, and the Secretary will review statements made by educators that, quote, celebrate or incite political violence, end quote. Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith and Attorney General Todd Rokita have also invited the public to report state employees to their offices for comments about Kirk. Attorney Josh Bleesh is with the ACLU of Indiana.
People don't lose their First Amendment rights just because they take a job with a public employer. You still have a right to comment on matters of public concern as a citizen.
The Indiana State Teachers Association condemns political violence in a statement. The union says that threatening teachers' licenses for lawful speech could amount to censorship. I'm Zach Castle.
After months of heated debate, the Indianapolis City County Council will decide tonight whether Google can build a massive data center campus in Franklin Township. Farrah Anderson reports.
The Indianapolis City County Council could rezone nearly 500 acres on the southeast side tonight for Google's proposed data center. Local residents have raised concerns about water use and environmental risks. Usually, rezoning proposals are voted on as a package, but Councilor Michael Paul Hart, who represents the district, called for Google's plan to be voted on separately. Recently, Google has been trying to secure more support. The Franklin Township School District, which once opposed the project, switched sides last week. Hart, who's against the plan, accused the district of, quote, selling out to Google. I'm Farrah Anderson.
And for our final story today. State funding to help turn the Miami Correctional Facility into a federal detention center was approved last week. Jill Sheridan reports nearly $16 million will fund changes at the prison.
The funding is earmarked for changes that include new equipment, security improvements, and intake modifications. Department of Corrections Commissioner Lloyd Arnold says most of the money would be set aside for staffing the facility located north of Kokomo.
The majority of that, a lot of it will be some housing because we utilize some of our staff across the state to come up to Miami until we get people hired as we start bringing in detainees.
Arnold expects the DOC will not need all of the money being requested. The facility has been operating at below capacity since the pandemic due to staffing challenges. The decision to use the prison to detain people was announced last month. Plans to use Camp Atterbury for the same purpose are also in the works. I'm Jill Sheridan.
The contract commits the state to hold adult men who will be staying at the facility for more than 72 hours. The agreement runs through September 2027. And that's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by Zach Bundy with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music, and I'm your host, Abriana Herron. If you like today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.